dependency theory, and beyond. Other inspiration. Key concept of definitions. What is world system? Core, periphery, and semi-periphery. A history profit on capitalist world economy. Origin in evaluation. Objectives. After reading this, you should able to explain the major intellectual influence on world system there, critically reflected on the modernization paradigm. World system theory, critical reflect the modern paradigm, elaborate the notion of capital world economy central to the world system analyzing, explain the concept of core, periphery and semi-periphery and fundamental to understand the world system theory. Give an account to the history of development and world capital orders and outcome of the imperialist and colonial project of European nation. Discuss the economic explanation and its interrelationship with the other forms of domination, namely military, political, and culture. Critical review the world system theory and through light in the efficiency. Introduction. In this unit, we will be discuss the world system theory. The world system theory was developed by the American sociologist, economic historian Emmanuel Wallerstein in 1930s and 2019 in the start of 1970s as a Morocco sociological perspective that sought to explain the dynamic of the capitalist world economy as a total social system. Watson World, The Rise of the Future, Denies of the World Capital System, Concept for the Comparable Analysis published and the Model World System 1. Capital Agriculture and Organization of European World Economy in the 16th century published both 1971 provide the most comprehensive articulation of the world system theory. The session 6.2 focus on the origination of the world system theory as a approach critical to modernization paradigm of different in reflect how the world system theory is alternative modernization paradigm and draw from the various other theoretical tradition like Marxism, dependency perspective and analysis school. The section 6.3 elaborate the fundamental characteristics key concept of world system theory. It conceptual the nation of world economy as a central unit of analyzing the three tiers of structure of world system reflecting the concept core, semi-periphery and periphery elaborate in the session. The world system theory process historical world single economic system in which some countries and dominant while other the exploited of by. The section 6.4 provide a description of the origin of the world capitalist economy in through history. There were certain countries of the world that emerged dominant because of their superior economic position and these dominated exploited other countries. In providing historic regarding of the origin of the development of capitalist world order, the economy in imperialist and the colonial project of the European countries. In doing so, we get critical perspectives and process of industrialization and technological advancement, whereby certain countries have fueled the development and were to remain economically system theory and examine. It seems that despite the criticism on various grounds, the theory is extremely enriched and illuminating analysis of the rise and expansion of capitalism. Major intellectual influences. There are series of intellectual sources that have influenced Watson through the shape the world system theory. The world system theory has been prominently influenced by Marxist and neo-Marxist theories. The focus on capitalism and economic materials impact the dependency theory and annual school. The world system theory provides the alternative to the conventional analysis of the economic development. Its development has a critical perspective to the modernization and industrialization process, thus circumscribes the traditional understanding of development. In doing so, it comes very close to the dependency theory, as both theory adopt a critical approach and development, drawing from Marxist tradition, influenced by Marxist tradition both of world system theory and dependency theory provide a basic to reflect on the development as a process of capital accumulation and competitive and conflict interest between the dominant and dominated. These sections outline the critique that the world system there offer the modernization paradigm of development. Alongside is reflected on the similar of the difference between the world system and dependency theory, the various other traditions and theoretical influence that have contributed in development of world system there are, theory are also pointed out. A critique of the modernization paradigm of development, dependency theory, and beyond. The world system theory provides a clear concept and break from the modernization paradigm on the world expansion development of capitalism. It shows close association with the predecessors and dependency theory, which oriented as a critique to the modernization theory. In fact, world system there is many respect regarding as adaptation of dependency theory. Uh, Andre Gunnar Funk, a neo-Marxist German-American sociologist and economic historian who had played fundamental role in propagating this theory post 1970, advocated the world system theory after 1984. Dependency theory originated in 1950 as Sir Hans Wolfgang Singer and the German-born British development economist and Russell Purbish, director of the United Nations Economic Commission for Latin America, proposed that there is a negative correlation in the economic growth between the industrialized countries and poor countries. In the famous Singer Purbish thesis, it was pointed the term of trade move against the producers of primary product. This economic growth is industrialized world meet harmful implication for the poorer country. This was a country to the neoclassic analysis and modernization theory, which assumed the economic growth is to have positive outcome for all, thought its fruit may not be shared equal by all. Vastin, similar to the dependency theory, question the modernization paradigm on the account that it offers the single universal path of evolutionary development of capitalism across the world. The modernization theory was based on the assumption of the development take place in the series of capitalist stages in underdeveloped countries are still organized state of history through which development countries he passed long ago. In other words, it provides very optimistic perspective of development, bring to fore that is undeveloped countries are lagging since they are at the earliest stage of development, where the vast particular European was long ago. Such mapping of development is termed stages of erroneous as the fails to the making one perspective of the global economy as an interesting world or totally. A world system in fails to the take account of economic and other relatable between developed and underdeveloped countries through history of origin and explain the world capitalism. We started since 18th century, 16th century as seen in earliest section. In this respect, word system theory like dependency theory also offer the much philosophical understand that the historical variation of Marxists with the end of roughly part of the totally as they were independent unit, and this making a comprehension between them. In henceforth, asking dependency theory question for the understood the development process in terms of concept like dual economy that has been used to many liberal economists and traditional Marxists. According to this concept, underdeveloped countries on the world are continues to separate economic part each of the different structure, history of its own and various deposit of production. The two separate part in the underdeveloped countries reflect the presence of pre-capital tradition and capital modern mode of production general towards the local subsistence need and global export cash economy respectively. These separated parts are reflected of different stages of development and integration with the capital mode of production. The pre-capital part is lagging behind because of being isolated lacking content with the outside capitalist world and prevalence of tradition and feudal values of ideologies. Contrarily, and world system, there was a dependency perspective highlighted the understand development the backward of country and its part of the understood the product of the participation in the singular world capitalist system. Both challenges the idea of national state as an independent entity within a own economy, society and polity. The dominates this reflection on the concept of reconstituted national state as a result of evolution and development of world capital economy. The world system theory, like dependency theories, view capitalist system on the world scale as a world demonstrating that the contemporary understanding in the large part of historical product of past and continuous economic and other related between understand the developed countries. Rather than reading the issues of development as a domestic story and modernization perspective process, local question depending on national institute arrangements. The world system theory saw that national development in other words in question the modernization theory for suggesting the underdeveloped countries can develop by different refusing capitalist institution and value from developed capitalist countries EBIT. Alternately, the world system theory is suggested that the development in underdeveloped country can occur only independently of the capital development world. The world system theory critics in modernization perspectives clearly establish depend theory as one of the most influenced precursors to it. However, the world system theory provides more advanced basis to understand the development and underdeveloped as a globally integrated process. Balzer's three-tier division of world religion in core, periphery, and semi-periphery to map the development of capitalism provide the more non-basic and underdevelopment of the world capitalism relations. The Frank Biodel framework, which separates the development and underdeveloped region of the world as metropolis and satellite respectively. Thus, moving beyond the dependency theory fundamental proposition that core countries and state exploited underdeveloped poor country. Wallerstein posted that the core exploits work in all economic zones, not simply periphery. The world system theory allowed to explore on more contemporary questions of the distributions of surplus values and not simple surplus resource that was a part of older international division of labor. In other words, it is ordered a more pertain understood of capitalist expansion, adoption, a history perspective that take into cognitive shift in the organization of capitalism in terms of inter-regional and transnational division of labor rather than the outmoded and simplistic international division of labor as suggested by dependency theory. Other inspiration. The analyst school tradition shaped world system theory, historiographical methodology, and approach to understand capitalism in the respect the role of Fernand Bruel in influenced Wall Street thought in central Brudel's concept.